Ohio's most wanted, Patrik Laine, logged just over 6 minutes of ice time a couple of nights ago for the Montreal Canadiens. He was booed by the fans who used to love him, he was hit by some of his former teammates, and eventually he left the game early with what his team labeled as an upper body injury and did not return. As you can imagine, this caused quite a bit of a ruckus. So, why did the Blue Jackets react the way they did? Were they intentionally trying to injure Patrik Laine? And why didn't anybody on the ice for the Canadiens intervene to try and put a stop to it? Well, I'm about to give you my opinion on this entire situation, and some of you, you're not gonna like it. But first, before we begin, this video is brought to you by Mirage Trading. And if you're still looking to test your luck on some of these bad boys right here on the screen, if you're still on the hunt for a Lane Hutson's Young Guns card, you can give it another shot at miragetrading.com. But here we go. Let's dive right into the septic tank and take a look at the quote from Patrik Laine that pissed everybody off a couple of days ago. Quote, "I feel like we were doing the same thing every year. I was tired of losing and just giving up when it's December to start focusing on the next year. And I don't want to do that. As a player, it's frustrating to try and win while some people just aren't on the same page." Now I know what you're thinking, you little hungover grasshoppers. The man's probably spitting facts. He's speaking truth. I mean, after all, Patrik Laine is not the first person in history to question the competitiveness of the Columbus Blue Jackets. But coming from a former teammate like Patty, who you've all built such a personal relationship with, that hurts, and in my opinion, that shit's gonna sting a little more. Sometimes you gotta look from a different perspective. Can you imagine if Justin Barron made the same kind of comments about the Canadiens prior to their next game against Nashville? Man, I'd expect the boys to go make his life miserable out there. And you know what? That's exactly what the Blue Jackets did. It became obvious pretty early that he bit off a little more than he could chew with these comments. They finished every check on him like it was some kind of a big playoff game, until eventually he was pulled and he was done for the night. But this is where I'm probably going to lose some of you. You see, there's a big difference in just targeting somebody and trying to injure somebody, okay? And whether you like to admit it or not, they did not go outside the boundaries. I mean, every single one of these hits were legal. And at no point did I see a situation where the Blue Jackets crossed the line. None at all. I'm just trying to look at this from a realistic standpoint. And as much as I love Patrik Laine, and as much as I love what he brings to this team, the moral of the story is he made some comments that he probably shouldn't have made prior to a game against his former team, and they responded accordingly. Once again, it should have been expected. None of these were against the rules. Now, I do see a lot of fuss about the Blue Jackets potentially targeting his left shoulder in these situations, and listen, I hate to be the one that says it, but I feel like we have a tendency to play too much into this stuff sometimes. You know what I mean? What I see is a team hitting a player, and they didn't care if it was his right shoulder, his left shoulder, or his left nut. If they saw an opportunity to strike, they went for it. And a lot of you are probably going to disagree, but that's okay. After all, I mean, I started a YouTube channel to call things the way I see it, and it wouldn't be fair if I just ran away with the popular vote. But if there was one thing that I was a little surprised about, and even a little disappointed in, was the lack of response from the Canadiens themselves. Guys, what are you doing? Were you, like, unable to read the room? Did you really not notice what everybody else was noticing on live TV? One of your top players was clearly being targeted, and nobody really seemed like they wanted to do anything about it. I felt like it was a pretty shitty response. The Habs go on to lose this game 5-4. There was cannons going off. There was not cannons going off, but nobody really cares about any of that. All we really care about right now is the health of Patrik Laine. However, my guess, again, is that he was just pulled from the game due to precautionary reasons. I feel like he's going to be okay. But that's going to do it for today's video. You can let me know your thoughts down in the comments section. Please don't forget to snap the thumb of that like button right in half before you leave here. And hey, I'll see you next time.